I'm not going to do the make some noise, clap for me, and something like that. But can I just hear, how is everybody doing? Everybody doing okay? Thank you very much. She probably hates my guts right now. Right, beautiful. So my name is Kabir Aswani. Welcome to this session where we will be talking about learning aggregators as far as AI is concerned. And I can promise you this panel discussion, A, will be short, B, it'll be succinct. It won't be as brilliant as Vikas, but we will try to entertain you a little bit, okay? I have my beautiful set of panelists over here. I have Nuzhath, I have Lalit, and I have Mamatha joining us today. Would you just like to introduce yourselves for the benefit of the audience, and then we can jump in? Nuzhath, let's start with you. My grandma trained me very well. Ladies first, so over to you, please.
Thank you so much. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Totally empathize. You've been here since morning. My name is Nuzhath, Ayaz, and I've got 23 years of experience in learning and development, primarily in leadership development. That's my forte, and very happy to be chatting with Kabir and my co-panelists here. Thank you so much.
Lalit, over to you, sir, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lalit Suresh. I come with over 24 years of industry experience. Worked with varied industries, started my career with hotel industry, then moved on to IT, ITES, entrepreneurship for a small stint, and then back to IT. And it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lalit. Welcome. And we have Mamatha as well.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mamatha from TTK Prestige. I'm sure all of you have grown up with the brand Prestige, using our pressure cookers and pressure pans and all the other kitchen appliances. So coming to me, I am a trained mental health professional and an ICF trained coach. I've been in the field of learning and development for past 20 plus years. Nice being here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamatha. And I've had many a fond memory using TTK Prestige, so welcome as well. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, I know we're here to talk about AI and L&D and data and all of that good stuff, and I know we've discussed this over and over again, and sometimes we've probably discussed it till we're blue in the face. So let's maybe change it up a little bit. Let's make this session a little interesting. I'd love to involve all of you as well. However, we maybe just talk about 2 or 3 key focus areas and not pose too many questions. So Lalit, I'd like to start with you. As far as you are concerned, could you talk a little bit about current trends in the organization as far as AI is concerned? I promise not to ask too much about it, but as far as AI is concerned, cybersecurity and data science for learning and development. What's up with you guys? What are you doing right now?
It's an interesting question, though. With the evolution of AI in the corporates, right? I think primarily when it comes to the AI bit, I think it's about AI integration that is more important, right? So when it comes to AI integration, organizations are actually, they are increasingly using AI to integrate with their learning management system, with their data, right, everywhere, so that it is able to give us the learning metrics, right? It is able to predict the learning behaviors. It is able to also personalize, all right, the learning interventions accordingly, right? We talk about cybersecurity. I think with the evolution of AI, I know cybersecurity is becoming the talk of the town today when it comes to so many frauds that are happening, in terms of breaching,
of course,
the entire IT protocols in the organization. So I think it's important that organizations invest, in cybersecurity so that we're able to put few guardrails, right, from our data privacy, from our GDPR, DPA, all those aspects, right? And then
last thing we were talking about was data science and learning and development. What's happening in that space as far as your organization is concerned?
L&D adopting data science is important. As I said, data is something which is helping with the help of AI to, for us to personalize the learning plans, understand the learning behaviors, right? Using again, predictive analytics, which is able to also let us know that, what is the feeling of our learners, and it is giving us way ahead a notification saying that probably we need to intervene and probably take corrective actions.
I like that. I like the fact that you speak about taking corrective actions. I think that's the key way forward. A little bit about me. I started training in 2007. And I think the first topic I ever trained people on was on this particular thing called subject-verb agreement. If anybody remembers, please can you raise your hands? There you go. SVA, right. We hated SVA. We had like 15 different rules. Subject-verb agreement was a big thing. And I remember I taught English for many a year. A couple of weeks ago, I was certified, and now I can tune engines of a car. How did I learn that? Well, AR experiences. And I'd like to ask you one more question, Lalit. Can you talk a little bit about how immersive learning technologies exist, and how can we implement, let's say, augmented reality or virtual reality in our current ecosystem? Because it definitely has a place to stay.
Absolutely. I think with AR and VR in place, I think first thing that it's gonna help us do is enhance our engagement level, right, with our learners. We are able to customize, using AR and VR, the learning experiences of our learners, so that they're able to get into immersive learning, which is really helping them to understand the scenarios and the situations first, right? Second, we talk about realistic simulations, right? I know that a few years back we started doing a lot of role plays and role-based trainings, right? Now, with the invention of AR and VR, right, it has become pretty easy for us to put them into simulations, right? Especially, I think in the IT side, I think we haven't yet started, but I think it really is helping the supply chain side, right? And where in the retail sector as well, where they're able to put people into scenarios and situations using AR and VR for them to understand the good and the bad side of it, right? So which is giving them a lot of experience rather than doing it textually, they're able to put them into the immersive side, right? The third side is more about on the personalized learning, right? With the usage of AR and VR, we are able to create, because I understand the person's behavior, the learning behavior, I'm able to create more personalized VR and AR experience for them to learn and apply. I think application of knowledge is becoming a challenge today. I mean, it's easy for us to create learning programs, but how do we judge or how do we check whether are they going back and applying that knowledge? I think that is something that, using AR, VR, we are able to, give them that experience.
It truly does, and I fully agree with you. The fact that we can talk about the implementation of learning and development is probably one of the cornerstones of success. Another key story of AR and VR is, they're not interchangeable. As far as AR is concerned per se, is you have a diversity, equity, and inclusion training, and you can put an AR headset on, and then you can actually track eye movements. Are my eye movements appropriate? I know that might sound a little iffy to people, but that can truly help track what's happening with the person and how he or she or they are applying learning. So something for you to consider. Another thing I'd like to talk about very quickly as far as virtual reality is concerned. A friend of mine was learning how to play the piano, and I know we spoke about music and learning. And for my friend, she donned these glasses, and her teacher was Antonio Vivaldi. And I thought that was fascinating. The Four Seasons are something which is close to me. So that was curated for her. And I'd like to ask you the next question. As far as content creation and content curation investments are concerned, I'd like you to talk to me about how developing and sourcing high quality content is relevant for learning outcomes, please.
That's a great question. I'm sure all of us have been working with content. My personal experience as far as content is concerned is almost like putting a restaurant together, right? So if you compare the process of putting the content together, it's like putting a
Please
restaurant.
Tell me it'll be an Indonesian restaurant serving nasi lemak.
Yeah,
okay,
so the reason I brought this up is because if you're going to be serving sushi to an audience or customers who don't enjoy international cuisine, you're going to really lose the customer. So similarly, as far as content is concerned, the most important thing I feel is to understand who are your users, what is their capability of intake, and then at what point in time are you going to be presenting this content to them. Let me give you an example, right? There is a particular program that we, curated where negotiation skills are presented to the sales executive just before a meeting that they go for. So this in-time content can actually make it very relevant for the person who's going for a meeting, and just before the meeting, he has an option, or they have an option of selecting which particular skill they want to focus on. So the three things which I feel is important for us to focus on as far as content is concerned. One is, of course, the people, that's the DNA, who are you curating the content for. Two, the business context, as in, why am I curating this content? And is there a buy-in from the stakeholder? There was an experience where we did a program which ran for almost a year. And at the end of the year, we had a senior stakeholder who came back and questioned the content itself, whereas the sign-off happened from one of the junior stakeholders. It's very important to get a buy-in from stakeholders of various categories, whether it's leaders, the HR team, all of the people involved in the process. That's another learning that I've had personally as far as content is concerned. The third thing, like I spoke about the restaurant business, like you see, KFC or, McDonald's, what is common in all of these restaurants? Let me ask you a question as opposed to giving you the third answer. So I'm comparing content with a restaurant, correct? Are you with me? So what is common between KFC, McDonald's, and all these restaurants, according
Bad
to you?
American food.
Very good food.
Bad American
Has
food.
anybody had McDonald's in Thailand? Or a standardization? So content needs to be scalable, right? So I feel that these three things, people, who is it for, stakeholder input and involvement, and third, are you able to scale your content? And now with AI, can the content go to, let's say, an LMS platform? Can you do the same thing, maybe by changing a few things in a virtual reality? Can you deliver this in person? And how will I do this differently in each of these phases? So I feel that some of these learnings I've had through content. Thank you.
I love that, Nuzhath. I absolutely love that. I think content curation is an underrated skill. It's not just putting stuff together just so that people can receive it, but fully understanding how a person can receive it, how it can be personalized to that person, and then how it can be implemented. So it takes off beautifully on what Lalit had to say, the whole implementation of learning. And AI can truly help us recreate that. You also spoke about buy-in from stakeholders. So I'm going to look at my lovely audience over here. How many of you have struggled to get funding from a stakeholder? All of us? Raise your hand, raise your leg, I don't care, raise something. Okay, there you go, lovely. Beautiful, so that brings me to my next question. I'm going to ask you this question, Mamatha. The question is this: as far as skill development programs are concerned, can you talk about funding initiatives to develop critical skills and competencies for the workforce? What happens with TTK Prestige and how do you manage that?
Thank you, Kabir. It's a beautiful question. I pick up some cues from where Nuzhath left. She spoke about the content being relevant to the context. So similarly, I would start with our context for you to understand where the funding is going as far as L&D is concerned. So ours is a fast-moving consumer durable product. So the products are added at a very fast pace. Probably we are the one of the highest number of products are added in the category will be from TTK Prestige. There are a lot of innovations happening. At the same time, we are a 75-year-old company, so there is a trust in the industry. We are also facing a lot of competition in the same time. So this puts us into a lot of challenges. For us, skilling starts from the last mile. For us, the last mile is the guy who's selling the product in the shop. The guy who's servicing, who's coming to your house and servicing your gas stove or hot top. So how do we skill them? So our approach would be a combination of human-led intervention supported by technology. So where I say human-led intervention, I mean there will be classroom-centered training programs, there will be train the trainer, there will be OJD. So when I say train the trainer, so we have a pool of trainers who are developed to train the frontline employees, be it the service, be it the sales. We develop the trainers in turn. So that is one where one of the interventions of funding will happen. The other thing is also the OJD. We follow a OJD model for our sales force, wherein the manager is equipped to give feedback on the go. So he's supposed to shadow his team member while he conducts business and come back, and under a tree he gives a feedback and comes back and puts it in the portal. That is where the technology comes. Once the process is over, he gets a feedback in terms of where does he stand in the branch and what is his comparison according to the zone and the national average. This is how the development happens for us. This is not going to be changed. So more or less, the human-led, human-centric intervention is going to continue, but where is the challenge? The challenge is that I have developed a set of, let's say, a set of 100 managers. So by the end of second year, I have lost 50 of them due to the attrition. So how do I scale it now? So I adapt to AI technology, wherein AI develops the manager. Apart from the other intervention, AI also supports in developing the managerial skills, be it the coaching skills, sales coaching.
No, I was agreeing with you. Right, go ahead.
Yeah. So these are the things we would continue focusing on human-centric intervention, wherein technology would help us in scaling it up, because we have a far reach wherein the store personnel and the people who are across the country need to be trained. How do we assess them? How do we give them the on-time, real-time feedback? So that is where technology is helping us. So one more thing where Lalit spoke about the role play situation. So role play is the ideal scenario that we can build in classroom, but how do we scale it? So the AI is helping to create this role play to each and every person, wherein he or she gets the customized feedback based on what he or she said. The other beauty of AI is that usually whenever these interventions come in, we also get a feedback that these are all not in the regional language. So this is not scalable, or this is not reaching to the last mile. So but with the AI and text-to-speech methodology, we are able to scale to the last level of the person. So they learn in their own language. So this is how our human-centric intervention will continue, supported by technology. This is where the funding is going to continue as far as TTK Prestige is concerned, like Kabir.
Thank you for saying that. And I like that as well. I love what we said in the audience. We spoke about data and insights. Data is not just data for the sake of being data, because it's all that there is, but it has insights to it, and therefore we need to attach ourselves to insights. So thank you for saying that. And I also like what you said about the fact that things need to be customized for an audience, and only then can it be scaled up. So you touch upon really important points, and I like the fact that it's not reliance on technology for the sake of being technology, but also using human-centric approaches. This would not be a learning and development conference if we didn't check in with the audience. So let's check in with the audience. All of you people over there near Gray HR, you're doing okay over there? All of you? Yes, I'm looking at you, putting you on the spot, all of you. Yes or no? Gray HR next to you guys, all of you there. Raise your hand. You're doing all right? Good. Everybody near the door, how are you all doing? Royden just walked in. How's everyone doing over there? Center table, my good friend, center table. You're doing okay? I'm pointing at you guys. Good. Everybody in the front? Everybody okay? Good. Can you smile for me uncomfortably, please? That always works. Okay, beautiful. So we've spoken about AI, we've spoken about L&D, we've spoken about data and machine learning and all of that good stuff, right? But it's now 5:15 and it could be a bit much. I have 21 minutes on my timer, and I probably might not take 21 minutes, but I'd like to take everything we've spoken about and distill it. Let's make it real for all of us. So 3 of you, one success story each. I'll start with you, Nuzhath. Can you talk about successful implementation of, let's say, AI in one of your L&D programs? What did you do? How did you do it? What were the results?
There's this simulation that we designed. Very proud and happy to share with all of you about the success of this story. It just reminds me how we implemented it. So this simulation took the leaders through the decision-making process. So they would log in, there would be a link, and then once they click on it, they would enter this particular simulation where they're required to make decisions, and it's a timed activity. And basis the decisions that they make. So you'll have certain decisions where they'll have to choose the human element versus the business decision, right? Either the business wins or they are being people-centric. Difficult decisions where they have to either drop the business numbers or drop people and all of that, compromise something or the other. And with this particular simulation, what was the biggest input that came is that we were able to understand the leader's capability in certain areas, especially in high pressure situations. And as all of you agree, as far as leadership development is concerned, self-awareness is the first step that we start with. So this feedback went to all the leaders and people. So when we started off this program, at least 80% of them asked the question, and I'm sure most of you know, what's the question most leaders ask when you go to them with the LNOD solution? Huh? ROI? Or, I mean, I've been working for 30 years, so 25 years, 40 years. What do I need to learn furthermore, right? It's like a know-it-all. So with this awareness simulation showed them the true insights about what their strengths are and what could they improve. And because of those insights, we were able to sign them up for the next program. And then they asked more of the program, which was a coaching intervention one-on-one. So this became like a precursor before we launched a new initiative, which is still on. And this is something which I'm very happy to share with all of you. Thanks, Kabir, for reminding me.
Absolutely. I think awareness is, again, I hate to use the word cornerstone, but definitely is a cornerstone to who we are as people. So thank you for sharing. I'd love to go through that sometime as well.
Yeah, it's good fun. Yeah,
I've been here 30 years. I probably can't learn anything, but I will try. Thank you, Nuzhath. Lalit, over to you, sir. How has AI and L&D been implemented in your organization, and maybe one or two case studies?
Guys at the voice
just
booth.
ask them to keep the volume down, please. Can you
just
keep it down?
reduce the volume,
Thank
please?
you. Thank you very much. Lalit, over to you, sir, please.
Sure, Kabir. Honestly speaking, we've not yet implemented the AI as such in the organization. However, we are building one. Okay, we are building an AI chatbot. Okay, which can talk to individuals and and capture what is their learning preferences, right? What do they want to learn? In which area do they want to learn? Instead of the generic practice about the manager raising a training request and then it comes to us and then we go ahead and plan. So we are giving this leverage to each and every individual to, put in their request in terms of what they want to learn. The objective is, at the end of the day, when we collect all these requirements, then it helps us build our calendar easily, right? We're able to plan our half-yearly, yearly calendar, right? Though ours is a medium-sized organization where most of our training programs that we conduct, it's all instructor-led or vendor-led programs. We don't use any of the learning aggregators in the organization because it is our belief system that if you give them a menu card, to learn, they will learn everything under the sky. But it will not be a focused learning approach, right? Hence, we have defined learning paths, okay, for various roles. However, we want them to come to the classroom, take out that learning time, for which we've made the learning as a KPI, okay, so that they can learn, they can have an immersive experience, okay. So to support is why we are creating an AI-based chatbot, right, which can capture all these information.
Thank you. It's a very interesting take, the menu card of learning and development that people take, and sometimes it becomes a one-size-fits-all. So it's a very interesting approach that your organization is taking towards the implementation of learning. So Mamatha, I'm going to pivot over to you. That'll be my last question for the day, and then we can give the audience back a little bit of time. So the question remains the same. Talk to us about how AI has been implemented in your organization, and what were the success stories, or what happened with that implementation?
So, as I said, our organization is widespread. There are people who are joining in literally every state. So that is the kind of joinings that happen. So I'm going to talk about the new joinee onboarding experience. So we used to experience a huge attrition. So when we looked at the data, why people are leaving us, one of the reasons we found that the connect is missing and various other parameters. So we came out with a beautiful 90-day induction program. So when we implemented that couple of years back, it fell flat. Because who's going to implement it, who's going to monitor? There are so many touch points. On a day one, the branch manager will speak. On the day two, the commercial manager will speak. The day three, buddy will speak. But are they talking to the employee who's actually looking at that? So it fell flat. That is when we realized without technology, we are not going to drive it successfully. So now the technology is able to kind of remind people, throw dashboards, remind HR, get everybody together on the act. So we are able to give those touch points to employees with the help of technology. So on day 7, he has to look at a particular e-learning module. On day 8, he goes to the market. So likewise, so we are able to get the dashboards, we are able to get a better visibility of red, amber, green, so-called, where are the difficult points for the employee. And that is where the HR's intervention begins, rather than earlier case, we used to physically follow up on people. Did you meet the employee? Did you have those sessions with him? Did you take him to market? So those are not the concern points anymore. The concern now is we have identified a lot of data, we have identified issues, so what are we going to do with those issues? Have we settled them? So we have been doing this successfully for the past 1 year, so we are able to see 50% of attrition has reduced after we have been able to bring in technology. I wouldn't say it is only AI. AI is a part of it. There is a normal Darwin box based reminder that goes, the regular ELMS, and also AI. So put together all of that, the technology has really helped us to bring down the attrition and help people to up their productivity in a shorter time. This is one example. The other example is how we have used AI to kind of upskill our managers in their skills to develop their team members. So they have a scenario where the AI bot acts like a team member, and he is supposed to coach the team member, and he gets the feedback to kind of refine his skills. So with a fast pacing, a lot of people are joining, so it's impossible to keep training people on a physical way or in a classroom-led way. So this is really helping us. I would like to...
Thank you, Mamatha. And I love me a good dashboard. How many instructional designers in the house? Raise your hand. Okay. 2 instructional designers or 1 more? I'm partial instructional designer. There you go over there. I no longer write emails to people. Stop doing it completely. If I want to write an email to somebody, I open up my Word document, I speak into the document, it captures what I have to say, I send it to Copilot, I say wordsmith it, then send an email. I have gorgeous emails, probably win the award for the best email. I said to myself, why can't we make this into an e-learning? So you have a tool called Synthesia. You might want to write it down. If you don't remember it, think of a fat guy in Bangkok listening to 80s music, okay? Shouldn't be using that word. Nevertheless, okay, Synthesia, text to speech. It takes your text, makes videos out of it, somebody is speaking. It's beautiful, okay? We've taken Synthesia, we've connected it to Articulate Storyline for my instructional designer friends, connected Articulate Storyline to your data models, and now what happens? You got an e-learning, you speak to the e-learning speaks back to you. No longer click next, 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 it's going to end my life, okay? Now the e-learning by itself becomes interactive. That's a use case that we've used with artificial intelligence. So one success story over here. Ladies and gentlemen, this particular panel was to talk about the next big investments in learning and development. Can you please give Nuzhath Ayaz a big round of applause, please? A nice big round of applause like you mean it. Let's go to my very handsome friend, Mr. Lalit Suresh. Round of applause for Lalit, please. And finally, a round of applause for Mamatha. Thank you very much. We love you. Thank you.